It's a festival of democracy out there. Political parties are vying for about 107 seats in 95 municipal wards countrywide. Our reporters across the country are covering this one-of-a-kind by-election. Heidi Jokos is in Naledi, Soweto. Kaelihle Khumalo is in Vereeniging. Monique Motlock is joining us from Philippi in Cape Town. And Tuba Vilane is in Umlazi in Durban. Thank you to all of you. Heidi, let me start with you, simply because there's been a bit of tension where you are. What's the situation right now, and has the facility been able to open for voting?
So earlier on, Tulas, we were at a church where they were trying to, the IEC officials are trying to get access to move into, to allow for voters to come in. However, the community had blocked off the entrance with a chain and a lock-on. Police were trying to break that. And we moved just further down the road where tensions are extremely high here. Heavy police presence, a police signala, and police eventually managed to break off the lock, getting voters to come in. We're seeing a lot of elderly people come in, but the Premier of Gauteng, David Makhura, is here. He's engaging with community at the moment. We tried to go closer to speak to him. He, however, indicated that he needs to get a hold of Eskom to understand what the problem is. Quite shockingly, though, the community of Naledi has not had electricity for the past 5 months, since the 12th of June. So it's interesting that he wants to call Eskom at this stage. We will, however, try and engage with him, but definitely heated conversations with the community, as they are extremely angered, and they try to block off any voting from happening, saying that they will not allow their facilities to be used for voting, as they have not had basic services throughout the last couple of months, and they want that to be sorted before any kind of voting takes place. However, they have been encouraged by the EFF, and Boiseni Ndlozi was also here a short while ago, saying that people need to have a right to vote, despite the fact that there are problems on the ground. They have not had electricity, and this is why police moved in to say that people need to be given the opportunity, despite the fact that there are problems.
All right, stand by, Heidi. We'll continue with you in just a moment. Interesting take there. Which is more effective as a tool for change, voting or protest, given that, you know, the people there are using the tool of protest at a time when elections are actually taking place at the same time. Let me head on over to Vereeniging, where we find Kaelihle Khumalo. And Kaya, if any community in Gauteng knows that they need a change, things just can't continue the way they've been continuing, I would say it's the community of Emfuleni, the mess that municipality is in, which in my view is actually the worst run municipality in the country. Are you seeing that on the ground, that people are out to express themselves emphatically?
Well, precisely, Tila Caesar. This is one of the municipalities that is beset by a number of challenges, you know, from the sewer problem to the electricity crisis. And currently, it's one of the municipalities that has experienced the reduction in terms of the water supply by the rainwater. So we have been interacting with the community members. So there's one common message coming. A lot of them really, they are aggrieved about the state of affairs. But in terms of the numbers so far, I mean, we haven't really seen a significant number of people coming out, but they are steadily coming and really just making sure that they do make a statement. But Tulas, if you may just, you know, talk to one of the community members, really just to understand the situation. So thank you so much for your time. Just maybe give us a sense of the current situation here. This is one of the most controversial municipalities in Gauteng.
Yes, thank you, sir. You're speaking to Howard Johnson. I'm born and bred here in Rustenburg. I grew up here, and I am not politically affiliated. I'm a community member. We've even recently, as much as two months ago, created a community task team to try and trying to understand the problems in Rustenburg as it is. But from my perspective, the problems we are experiencing in Rustenburg is that there's really no service delivery, in the sense that we as a task team that we also created, there's a lot of lies going around stating that, like for instance, this morning there was comments that the stadium that has been built, it's in a good condition. That's all lies. All projects that have been started in Rustenburg is about 20 to 50% complete. Money has been spent. There's no progress. So all projects are incomplete. I can mention the stadium. I can mention the school. As you see, the school was supposed to have been handed over in February. We're not even 40% away from the completion of the school. The library.
Do you think your vote is going to change the situation? It's been happening for some time.
Yeah, look, we are hoping, like we say, politics is politics. If you vote, and you hope for the best. But what I can say from a community member is that the projects are just not completed in Rustenburg, and irrespective of whichever party is in power here, we just not, the community is suffering. In other words, whichever political party is in power, the community is still suffering. So we lack in service delivery.
All right. So, Thulasizwe, that's one of the community members really sharing the current situation here that, well, he is cautiously optimistic, but I mean, the challenges have just been here for the longest time.
Yeah. Kaya, and I stand by my contention that is the worst run municipality simply because of the time that Mfuleni has been under crisis, one crisis to the next. Let's head on over to Monique Motlock in Cape Town. Monique, you are in Philippi. What are the issues there, and what's the enthusiasm levels? What are the enthusiasm levels in the place where you are?
A bit of a different picture here in Philippi compared to where my colleagues are. It's really quiet here. We visited various voting stations, and we've only seen voters trickling into the venues. Where I'm standing now was hoping to possibly get a voter either entering or leaving the venue, but it's really, really quiet. In 2016, during those municipal elections, the voter turnout was 52%. Yesterday, when I was speaking to community members here in Ward 88, they were telling me they've lost faith in the system and they won't be voting today. So it will be interesting to see whether that 52%, whether it's even lower this year or the same. But if this is any indication, just us being here since 7 o'clock this morning at different voting stations where we've seen really a handful of people moving into the stations, if that's any indication, my guess is that it could be lower this year. When I spoke to community members and one or two voters a bit earlier today, the issues that are top of mind for them is, number one, the issue of crime in the community. Here at this voting station, at all of the voting stations we've seen several police officers stationed around the venue, obviously to ensure that the process runs smoothly, which it has been doing throughout the day. And one voter mentioned the fact that where he stays in the informal settlement of Paula Park, this was the first time that he's seen so many police officers around in this area, and that's also indicative of the need for visible policing that community members were speaking about, the need for basic services like electricity, proper refuse removal, proper sanitation services in the area. And these are really the pressing issues for the residents in Ward 88 in Philippi.
And Tuba Vilane out in Mlazi in Durban. There in KwaZulu-Natal, there are 12 seats that are being contested, and I understand that 4 of them are in the city of eThekwini. What are the issues there where you are, and how is it looking by way of, an energized electorate?
Yes, Thulasizwe, there are 12 wards in the province of KwaZulu-Natal that are up for grabs. We understand that 4 of them are here in eThekwini, of which 2 are in Umlazi. They're not far from each other. We're actually now at Ward 81 in Umlazi, at AA section. The voter turnout, Thulasizwe, is very low. The MEC was here, the MEC for Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, MEC Sipohlo Muga, was here a few minutes ago, and one of the things that he also raised is the issue of the low voter turnout. But it's understandable because it's been raining in KZ and it's just subsided now, and in the past few minutes that's only we've been able to see numbers of people coming in. As you can see, people that are lining up to in that marquee where they are being checked. I understand that the marquee that is erected by the ANC, where they are checking on the voters' roll if people are appearing on the voters' roll before they proceed to the voting station. But as I said, Thulasizwe, the issue and the concern has been the low voter turnout. When I spoke to IEC official earlier on, they told me that they had they're expecting about over 1,400 registered voters in this voting station, but only 38 had come through to vote. But the MEC, this is what he had to say.
We're only worried about the turnout because so far the stats is very low. However, we are going to encourage the residents to come in numbers and come and vote for the organization that they love. I can't say it's up to them which organization that they want to vote for. But we are pleased with the readiness by the IEC. Everything is in order, and as a government we will continue to support the IEC. We also continue to encourage the community members to come in numbers and vote for any organization that they want to vote, because ours is to ensure that there is a fair process of elections, and everyone they must elect a candidate that is going to render services for our people, because only our interest is the service delivery to our people.
All right, let's wrap this up then with you, Heidi, out in Naledi in Soweto. Just tell us what has since transpired since the arrival of the Premier there, and highlight again what are these issues that the community wants addressed, even as many people are heading out to the polls today.
The main issue here to us is the fact that the community of Naledi has not had, or parts of the community has not had electricity for the past 5 to 6 months. So this is the major problem here, and this is why they've tried to block off a number of voting stations here in Naledi. It's a church just further up the road, and this primary school. Police presence is extremely high here, as you know, the community is extremely angered. The Premier is still engaging with the community just to my left. He indicated that he's trying to understand what the actual problem is, but we aren't seeing many people come to vote to us. That's something that we must highlight, that we've seen very few people coming in to vote due to the fact that there is tension here. There is a lot going on. The roads have been blocked by rocks and burning tires, but the police presence remains high, and they are trying to restore calm, and we'll just have to hear what the Premier, what solution he's come up with, as the community is trying by all means to restore, or rather block voters, given the fact that they're saying they want the electricity back. There was an issue with the transformer. We're not exactly sure. We've reached out to Eskom to establish what the actual problem is, that this community has not had electricity for 5 months.
All right, thank you for that. eNCA's Heidi Jokos out there in Naledi, and the rest of our colleagues across the country there, giving us an update on voting in what the IEC is calling by-election Super Wednesday.